Hello, this is Wendy from Parenting Through Ascension, which is my Facebook page. If you are seeing this through another link, I invite you to go and like my page. Nothing for sale, just sharing my truth. So we went to bed last night, and I had to get up because I was getting this download and I needed to get up to write it down. And I was writing it mostly in the dark. I managed to stay on the line. It's pretty good. I'm impressed with myself. But what I'd like to do is just read it. And this goes with my previous post, if you saw it, about ego and how I know that there are a lot of people who are mentors and guides and healers who are talking about how we have to kill the ego or get rid of the ego. And I wanted to put my perspective on the ego out there as well to hopefully balance it out a little bit. I don't agree that we are supposed to kill our ego. In fact, I think we absolutely still need our egos, even now that we're in this 5D energy and our physical bodies are still adjusting. We need our ego. So just let me read this, what I wrote last night, which might be gibberish, who knows. But I'll read what I wrote and then I will expound on that. So this is I'm hilarious because I actually wrote, this is Wendy Lou from PTA, Parenting Through Ascension, talking about ego today, like I'm on a talk show. Had a revelation last night as I listened to my sleeping husband breathing deep. And actually I wrote this last night and the revelation happened last night. So I must have known I was going to read it today. Had a revelation last night as I listened to my sleeping husband breathing deep. I have lost weight recently quite a bit, and as my body has healed, as I've lost the weight and my body has healed, I noticed the last few days, okay, I'm adding as I'm reading, I apologize, but I noticed the last few days that I felt like I was starting to gain a little bit back, a pound or two, okay? And I started feeling the old ego kick in, worrying about it. Will I gain all the weight back? Will I be overweight forever? Why can't I just look like this or better? Why is this my fate? I want to be thin. So the ego was really kicking in because I was like, well, I'm just going to, I need to starve myself then, which is old stories, right? But, you know, and I know a lot of women can relate, when you have lived your life feeling fat, even when you weren't, a pound or two can feel like the end of the world. And our ego kicks in hard because we're feeling defeated, we're feeling helpless, and it's the ego's job to come in and protect us and keep us safe. So it comes in, it kicks the door down. It's like, who do I have to beat up, right? And it starts telling you all these things you need to hear to stay safe. So, and there's a flip side to that too, but I won't talk about that in this video. And my ego kicked in and I was thinking all these things, you know, I just want to be thin. Why can't I just, you know, I was trying to see, it's been such a tough year. I was trying to embrace the weight loss and kind of this new physical body that I've never had before, even when I've lost weight before. This is all new. I was embracing it as, for lack of a better term, kind of my reward, kind of the silver lining, I guess, of all of this stuff that's happened. And so when I felt like I was like that I was gaining a little bit back, I was really upset, I admit. So, but I was thinking all these things. I want to be thin. I won't be taken seriously if I'm not thin. That's a big one. All the old stories, and I realized something. The ego has taken care of me for 47 years. Ego got me here. Ego was running the show, driving the boat, and I was largely absent. Yet I'm still here. I'm still awakening, discovering my soul purpose. I'm still growing. I am grateful to my ego for this, for everything. And as I filled my ego with gratitude, it came to me. The ego was created to care for the physical body. That's what it was intended for. To make sure we eat, drink, sleep, bathe, move, keep our appointments, you know, all the the housekeeping of life. We need ego, but we need to remind it what its job is. And you know what? My ego was so relieved when I talked to her about it. She is exhausted from being in charge. She never wanted to be the boss. No ego does. That wasn't what they were intended to do. They're not meant to be the ship's captain. That's your job. She is exhausted from being in charge. She never wanted to be the boss. She stepped up when I couldn't. She went above and beyond her assigned duties and kept us afloat. Sorry, I'm former military, married to military, daughter of military. That's where the terms come from. She saved us, and I say us meaning her and I, and we are one, of course. She kept us, me, safe until I was fit to command again. My ego is like the best first officer ever. And I wrote that and I realized after I went to bed, it really is like I put in the post, my previous post, it really is more of a logistics commander, a logistics officer, taking care of all of the have-tos, the physiological needs of the physical body. Because first officer it feels different to me. But anyway, I was writing really fast. I was literally almost channeling this, so I don't know, maybe first officer is right, because when you channel, but it was my interpretation at the time. So I reminded her what she was created to do, and she snapped to attention, a big smile on her face. She knew, she remembered. She was so ready to go where she belonged. She was thrilled that I am now ready to assume command, because she is here for me. She is me, I am her, we are we. So she is going to be in direct communication with my higher self. This was kind of the revelation for me in relation to this programming, these stories that I have about my weight and how I look physically, the emotional attachment I have to it. I realized that there was a reason that these two ideas were coming to me at the same time. And so I was talking to my ego, and I realized that the way for me to kind of urge her or, allow her, really, my ego, to go back to her own office. I mean, if you want to keep thinking of it as organization, kind of like the military, urge her to go back to her own office, allow her to do her job rather than trying to do mine, was that I remind her what she was created for, and that is to take care of my physical body. And so if I assigned her, or reassigned, I guess, or reminded her that that was her original assignment, then I could release all emotional attachment to what I eat, how I take care of myself, and how I look, because I would know, I would have a knowing that my ego was not only doing her job, but taking care of all that for me. So that was kind of a big, I was like laying in bed going, okay, I have to get up and write this down. Because I'm like, oh, I'll write it down in the morning. So I was all comfy, everybody else is asleep. And I'm laying there going, well, I wasn't falling asleep anytime soon anyway, but I was laying there going, I'll just write it down in the morning. And then more and more kept coming, and I'm like, I'm never going to remember this, so I got to get up now. So she's going to be in direct communication with my higher self, who will give her everything she needs to take care of the physical body we are occupying as a soul energy. I asked her to control, to program, if you will, my cravings, what I put in my body and how I move. So cravings, cravings always have had a negative connotation, right? They almost always mean comfort food when people use that term. But I put my ego in charge of ensuring that what I'm craving is also what my body needs, is what my body's asking for. So program any cravings, what I put in my body, and how I move. She's going to program cravings for the healthiest foods in portions that are in my highest good for my mission, as well as my desires to walk every day and do other physical activity. She is now at home in her job, the job she was intended to do, her mission, because it's exactly where she's supposed to be. A little bit more. This is where we strayed. This is kind of where I shifted to a message kind of for everybody, not just me personally, although I hope my personal perspective helps somebody. But this is where we strayed when we kind of forced our egos to take charge, to step up and do something they were not qualified to do, guys. They're not qualified to do it, which is why life was kind of just humming along and not bad, but not great. You just kind of fall into that that zombie like going through the motions of life, and that's because the ego is not qualified to be in charge, and she knows that. She's not offended. She's like nodding at me, like, yeah, I know that. Because that's my job. It's not her job. It's not what she was created to do. So when we strayed, how we strayed is when we were kind of forced to put them in charge. And again, it's not all our fault, but we have to own it. We have to own it, and we have to fix it, because nobody else is going to do it for us. Yes, we have a lot of help in this ascension, but we have to do the work. We have to do the inner work and figure out what the hell's going on, okay, and figure out how to heal our bodies. Yes, we have help. We have all this information and all these downloads, but if you don't do anything with it, then you're stuck. And so, although we strayed and our egos took charge because they had to for our survival, it's also how we survived these thousands of years being controlled and manipulated. And I've talked about that in previous videos. I do believe that we were created to have these amazing, wonderful lives and to live. And I've actually heard this from many other sources, and it resonated with me. We were meant to live 900,000 years. We were meant to live one lifetime that long, and to evolve within that first life, to ascend within that one lifetime. We weren't meant to be sick. We weren't meant to die at 50, 60, 70, even 100. We weren't meant to die. That's too young. We weren't meant to die that young. We weren't meant to age so fast. And so there was interference that came in at some point, that is part of AI, artificial intelligence. And I may lose a few people here, but look it up, do your research, look around you, look at the news, look at. We've been controlled by AI longer than we've even had any kind of what we would call modern technology. We've been controlled by AI, kept small, kept a slave race, kept from evolving in any way, kept from ascending, and we are partly to blame because they have been very good about telling us what they're doing through movies, through books, through TV shows, through they literally put stuff in the paper that nobody pays attention to, because they have to tell us what they're doing before they can do it, because then they found a loophole in how to take our free will away without taking our free will away, because they can say, oh, well, we told you, we made all these movies and told you what we were doing, that we were going to put poison in your food and all this other stuff, and everybody just thought it was entertainment, but we told you, so we were allowed to do it. So anyway, that's another video, but maybe further down the rabbit hole than some of you are ready to hear. But so we were really forced to kind of let our egos take over, and that was for survival, and that's where our ego lives, is in the lower 2 to 3 chakras. The third, our solar, is really kind of a bridge to the upper chakras, and but the ego definitely lives in the lower 2, sometimes third. It can creep up into the third, so into the solar. It's in all 3, and so we lived from those lower 3 chakras, which is survival. The root chakra is literally physiological needs only. It's food, it's drink, it's sleep. And then you move up to the sacral, and it's still connected to the root. Then that's procreation for survival. Procreation for just to have somebody to help, right? Just to continue the race on. So our ego lives in those places, and it kicked in when life became all about survival, and really nothing else. So so being kept small when we were made to be big. This interference has kept us small for far too long. It's time to take charge, to take our lives back. But they kept us small, and we were made to be big. So I was so grateful to my ego last night. So thank your ego. Thank your ego right now. Connect to it and say thank you for getting me here, for getting me this far, when you were probably terrified and knew that you weren't qualified, but you did it. So give it a new assignment, its intended one, and step up to command your own ship. it's time. And then I wrote, we got this, which I say a lot. And we do, we got this. We're winning. We're winning this. If you want to think of it as a war, it's more of a balancing, coming into balance. All of our chakras, we're aligning to the planet again. The planet is aligning to source again. Everything is falling into place. So, and it's not been super fun, but there is so much help that we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. And so, and then I had written, ha, and so many thought the ego would be our downfall. In fact, the malevolent powers that used to be definitely thought that our ego, because what our ego does, it comes in to keep us safe. It comes in to save us, right? It controls that fight or flight reflex. And so many of us have been. Have healed so much that I'm not in that space anymore, but so many live with that door wide open. It never closes, and that is a pandemic really on our planet right now. And it's a symptom. It's a symptom of this balancing coming to fruition. So because it's, things kind of have to get really out of whack as they balance. It has to get worse before it gets better. Not always true, but in this case, it sure seems like it. So they were counting on our egos to be our downfall, because our egos have anything that seemed scary, like standing up for yourself, like standing up to the government for whatever reason, like standing up at your job, like, quitting your job. Anything that seemed scary, our egos would talk us out of, because it didn't want us to be afraid. Yet that fight or flight door had swung open, and even the ego couldn't close it anymore. And so many of us are living in that space of just constant anxiety and panic. And no more. No more. Say it with me. No more. It's time for us to thrive. It's time for us to have the lives we're meant to have. So many thought the ego would be our downfall. Mine has been my greatest teacher. Take that, cabal. I wrote that. I have taken a perceived negative and turned it into a positive. I remember who I am now. I am the greatest alchemist who ever lived, and so are you. So that's my midnight musings. Suli. I have midnight musings. I should do midnight musings, and you continue to do morning music, Monday's musings. No, I won't take that from you, I promise. That was funny, though. But that was my midnight channeling about the ego. And again, if this doesn't resonate with you, great. Find somebody who does. If killing the ego resonates with you, great. That's a different. It's not my path. It's not my journey. So my journey is definitely embracing, integrating the ego, integrating it, allowing it to transmute back into light and love. However, we do still need our ego, even in this new 5D energy. We still need to feed our physical bodies. We still need to take care of our physical bodies. In fact, we need to train our ego along with the rest of us how to do that properly, because so many of us just never have. I mean, admit it. If McDonald's and Starbucks are a regular part of your life, then you don't know how to take care of your physical body. Sorry. It's coming. I promise. It's coming. The knowledge is coming, and you won't even miss it. I swear. I promise. You won't miss any of it. You're going to feel so good, you're not going to give a shit that there are no more McDonald's. That's my vision, my dream for the very near future, is no more fast food, no more just crap that we just pour into our bodies, because we're in a new time. We're in a new time, and we're going to learn how to take care of our bodies in a better way. It's going to be easier than ever. It's going to be a lot easier than what we were doing before, which was not taking care of our bodies. So, but we need our ego. We need our ego to evolve with us, ascend with us, and integrate into this 5D with us, so that it knows how to properly take care of the physical. And it's going to do an amazing job. So my ego has never been happier. And I had a really just kind of day-to-day integrating. I just felt kind of off, a little weird. My head was really heavy, and I know it's because, besides all the stuff going on externally, which if you can't feel it, there is a lot of energy coming from the sun right now that does affect us, absolutely does affect us, so much more than people know. And there is supposedly, from all of my sources, sometime between tomorrow and the 13th, the 10th through the 13th, a very big wave coming. I don't know. I'm just passing on the information, but I will tell you that all these people that I follow, that as far as I can tell, do not know each other. They're not in cahoots. They don't meet at Starbucks on Sunday nights and go, okay, what are we going to tell them this week? So they think they're ascending. It's not like that. I swear that they're very different sources that I pay attention to, and they're all saying the same thing. Tomorrow through the 13th, something big is happening. Not only in our country, which is very possible. It may just be something going on in America. But it also is, there's a big energy wave coming. And I choose to believe that it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great thing for humanity. It's going to push us through kind of this last eye of the needle that I feel like I've been being pushed through the last week or so. So that is my perspective on the ego. Why I believe we shouldn't think of it as killing the ego or getting rid of the ego. I mean, like I said in my post, how would you feel if you heard somebody talking about killing you? You wouldn't be too happy about it. And the ego, that really, like, my ego turned into this, beast when I kind of fell into that belief for a little while until I realized it just wasn't resonating with me anyway. And so soothe your ego, talk to your ego. Your ego is not a monster. It's not the enemy. It's part of you. It's part of you, and it will be part of you. In fact, it will always be part of us. It will just, as we ascend to the next levels, it will integrate more and more and more and more and more. And we won't need to work, at some point we won't have physical bodies. So we won't need the ego to be present, to be a separate kind of part of our energy. But it'll be part of us always. So, and I know my ego likes to hear that. I'm like, we'll never be apart. I will never abandon you. I will never leave you. We will never be separate because we are one. The ego is a part of our energy. So I hope that resonates. I'm doing this on my computer, which means it's going to take for frickin' ever to upload it. But I thought I'd try something different with my fancy schmancy microphone. And maybe the quality would be a little better. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll be back on my phone tomorrow. But that is that's my perspective. I hope it resonates. Like I said, if not, find somebody who does. It won't hurt my feelings. I'm here for the people who resonate with my messages. So I hope that helped somebody. I will talk to you guys soon. Please like my page and share this video. That would be wonderful. Once you've watched it, share it if you feel like somebody in your, in your friends list might benefit. So thank you.